All right, you're asking for it, so here it is. Listen to this.
I want you folks laughing at we partners pod, kid. You understand? We in here drinking, singing, swinging, all that shit, dog. Sweating, getting wet, and all that.
All right, welcome to the 162nd episode of the Drinking Partners podcast. Yes, this is our Jack Nicholson episode, or Jack Nicklaus, because he made his debut in golf in 1962. Went on to win 18 majors, and the importance of this now is Tiger is back, and we trying to take that shit. Like, it's not over for Tiger yet. He's back. He's playing good golf. He done got rid of his wife, so now he's focused again because she was killing his cars and all that shit. So shout out to Tiger for coming back. He don't have no hair in the middle of his head no more. So
you can't hit the ball straight when your car keyed up. You know
when you getting shit thrown at you, and she was taking the sponsored golf clubs out the fucking garage and throwing them at the caddy.
Yeah, you pull up in the, your back window busted and shit. Yeah. You can't.
Such an odd situation. So terrible that it's been it's been like 8-9 years since that's happened. He just hasn't been the same, but he's showing promise. The Masters are coming up. I'm still believing in Tiger going ahead and passing Jack Nicklaus, man. Like, I'm believing in that.
That'd be dope.
I'm half of your hosting tandem, Ed Bailey. I'm joined as always with my co-host, Dave Bracey. Say what up to the people.
What's good with you people? We are the Drinking Partners, and if you're looking for us, you can find us on epiccastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, and Google Play under Drinking Partners. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod, man. 162 episodes we've been asking y'all, and we're going to continue to ask you, man. Please hop on iTunes, rate and review. That's how we know what we're doing well. That's how we let others know that we're doing well, and that's how we continue to do well. So please hop on iTunes, rate and review.
Hey, listen, you love us. You see us in public. You tell us that you love us. Now, at the click of a button, please tell the internet, tell the world. And as always, 162 times in, we're going to do it 162 more times. In lieu of rates and reviews, we do accept shots of Hennessy. Shout out to Car Guy DJ and the Conways for starting the trend and for just being so supportive.
Truth, man. That keeps us going.
Keeps us going, man. So, but if you do leave a review on iTunes, it could be read here on the podcast, much like this, titled Steel City Sounds by CSB336. So this could be a real person, could be a robot.
It could be a going out of business record store.
I don't know. Like the title says real person, the name says robot. So I'm confused. The sounds of Pittsburgh in a podcast, complete with the people, flavors, and stories that make this city great. It's a professional writer. Very concise, informative, very complimentary.
It's a tweet.
Thank you, CSB336.
Yeah.
Whoever you or it is, is. I don't know if you're real.
Straight out of Russia.
I don't know. It could be now. I don't know what that means. It could be straight out of Russia, but we get love in Russia. We'll take it. We'll take it.
True.
I mean, I don't know if it's patriotic to take it, but we'll take it. I'm sure we got a couple downloads.
Shout out to POTUS.
That shout out was one-sided. Drinking Partners does not endorse shout outs to the POTUS. Current term.
Oh shit. So what we got coming up, man?
Oh, we got, as always, we got our Night of Epic Comedy series continuing in April. So April 21st, we're down at Arcade Comedy Theater. We got Chris Allen headlining.
Yeah, coming out of DC, man. That's gonna be dope. He's a powerhouse, man.
Yeah, he was here for the Comedy Fest.
Yeah, he came. He did Comtra last year.
Comtra. So yeah, we're excited. We're excited, and then obviously Comtra last Saturday of the month. That'll be April 28th.
Yeah, we got Tom Musial coming through. So always BYOB, free beer, and
that's an and in between that, people. For new listeners, we're doing BYOB and free beer. Samples.
Yeah, it's free craft beer. They come out. We had shout out to Fury. They came out last night for our show. St. Patty's Day and whatnot, and brought that Pittsburgh Fog, their anniversary brew. That was phenomenal. Very hazy IPA, triple hopped. if you get a chance to get that 8%, I mean, shout out to them.
8% is strong enough to be strong, but not so strong that it's immoral or illegal or dangerous.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
8% is a good sweet spot. With
yeah, you can have like 2 of those. Be good.
Well, I had 2 of those and I had to perform, and that's not good. It's never good to do that.
I don't know. I tend to enjoy myself on stage after a couple. But shout out to them. And like I said, with these shows, we always have free craft beer, and it's BYOB. And if you're looking for tickets at Arcade Comedy Theater on April 16th, was that where that came in?
No, April 21st.
Yeah. April.
I was like, oh shit, we got another show I don't know about. Okay. And I was just going to let him take it. Take it away, Dave.
April 21st, Arcade Comedy Theater. Chris Allen and Mindful Brewing is the sponsor for that night at arcadecomedytheater.com. And then if you're looking for Tom Musial at Comptra Theater, that's April 28th, ComtraTheater.ticketleap.com.
Yeah, and prior to that, our people, they're doing the 12th annual local food conference, Farm to Table out here doing big things. Shout out to Farm to Table, man. Like, they do a lot.
Yeah,
they
put
make
on
me want to work harder.
Yeah, truth, they're everywhere, and like the events they put on are like stellar. Like they make me want to step my game up. And they're on the 12th annual local food conference, and this is Saturday and Sunday, April 14th and 15th. Tantalize your taste buds, stimulate your brain, and support local growers. That is,
that almost sounds like a 900 number, also followed by. Never mind. Support your local growers at all costs, in all avenues.
If you wanna eat healthy, you wanna eat local, you wanna figure out how to do that, how to save your body and the planet. Come down. Check out this event. It's a great event. They've always got a lot of local farms, local distillers, local brewers out at these events, and it's a great way to learn how to meal prep, learn how to where you can get your food at a very low cost to yourself and the environment. So that's Saturday and Sunday, and me personally, I like to drink a little bit.
It never hurts.
When
you're out enjoying food, you got to have some food and beverage.
Yeah, so Sunday they got the from 9 to 11 they got a Sunday brunch with a Bloody Mary bar. So if that's your thing, you like the little celery and little bacon in your Bloody Marys, check that out. The Sunday brunch 9 to 11, and then they got the Farm to Flask tasting from 4 to 6, which they got all the local distilleries, breweries, and wineries coming out to that. Have a good time,
Yeah, man, get out there, support local, man. And it's a pre-brunch brunch. 9/11, that's like pre-brunch brunch. It's like, beverage with breakfast. You know what I mean? Make sure you go to that. 9/11, you get your Bloody Marys. Bloody Mary breakfast beverage or beverage. I got to come up with something real cool for that so I can sell it to wifey so she can go. Yeah. Be like, hey, we get to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you could bring the kids. You know what I mean? As long as you got a DD. So this is a family affair. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. You can't be with a DD with your kids. So you got to, go easy if you bring in your children, but it is kid-friendly.
It's a kid-friendly event.
I'll be leaving mine at home.
I don't know about the Farm to Flask. If for your 4 to 6, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know about bringing the kids to the Farm to Flask, They bringing out the hard liquor on that one.
There's always that one family with the stroller. You walk in and it puts you in an awkward position. Like, I came here to enjoy myself. Here comes this motherfucker with these kids.
Yeah,
I've been that guy.
Yeah, it's tough.
I've walked through with the double stroller.
That's a toughie. I gotta get a cold shoulder. Like, let's move over here. I always gotta know where they're at so I can have a bubble.
Being that guy, man, you could tell if people start migrating away from you, just standing in the corner with your double stroller. Your fucking double wide.
Like Will Wrap for food sign around your neck or something.
Double wide with a Corona. Because you still want to feel like you're involved. But you can't drink for real.
If you want to learn more about this event or register online, go to farmtotablepa.com.
Yeah. And that is, I guess that's an appropriate transition into today's guest, because a local food writer for the Pittsburgh City Paper. So we were talking about the Farm to Table event prior to the recording. So she's definitely plugged into the food scene, and we're going to learn some things. We got Celine Roberts in the building. Say what up to the people.
Hey, how's it going?
Ooh.
I feel like I have to lower my register just to match y'all's tone.
No. Oh, you talking about because Dave's voice is so...
You're talking down here, and I'm like, oh, hey, what's up?
No, that's fine.
Yeah. No, you do you.
Yeah, you come in, you bring femininity to the room. We
Yeah.
love that. We love to be around women. Like, that's cool with me.
It's good to hear.
I don't like hearing his voice all the time. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta understand, my position, like, is another man in the room, but his voice is way deeper than mine. Like, he sounds way more masculine, so I need you here.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I mean,
guess-
that's good to hear because you guys got me both beat on the smoothness and the tone.
Yeah, and we get sick of talking to each other all the time. So
All
you
the
know, we
goddamn
need somebody to break it up. You know.
All the goddamn. I just was with him last night. Pause. But we had a show.
So welcome to the cast. Tell us about yourself. How did you get into writing? Why are you a writer?
Why am I a writer?
Why are you a writer?
Oh, man. Got to go way back.
Wherever you
Got to
wanna-
go like teenage diary back.
Yeah.
So I've always been a fiction writer. I started writing fiction when I was 15. Nothing published, nothing that you could like pick up off a shelf.
Well, we try to find that diary. That's all.
Yeah.
You know, there is actually a local reading series that has people reading from their teenage diaries.
Yeah. That sounds dope.
It's brutal. I mean, it's funny, but pretty brutal.
Wow. I didn't have a diary, so I don't know what the fuck that would
Journal.
say.
How about journal?
No, I mean, we did journals in class, like, you know what I mean, like, but I had mixtapes. That was
Okay.
As I would put the mixtapes together that like express my mood. Like,
That counts. That counts. Just go up on stage and hit play on one of those.
He can't go spit somebody else's bars. That's not cool. It's plagiarism. I'm sure in your line of work, you do not condone that sort of plagiarism.
I do not.
Yeah, don't be
No.
up there spitting out. You can spit the freestyles that you wrote because every dude wrote at least one freestyle in his
I
life.
got a couple of little. So
You were writing in your diary.
Yeah, so I started writing like flash fiction when I was a kid and helped
flash fiction.
flash fiction. So like not as long as a novella or like a short story, 10 to 15 pages, but maybe like a 1 to 2 page like quick pop into a view in someone's head or like a situation.
She's like Tina Belcher from Bob's Burgers.
I wish. Oh my God. She's like my personal goal as far as like being connected with myself, She's really got something to teach us. But so yeah, I did that. I helped run a local reading series here in Pittsburgh when I came to college, the New Yinzer, which is unfortunately no longer.
The New Yinzer.
The New Yinzer. Yeah.
What was that about?
It was a journal, or like I guess a lit mag, an online lit magazine, and then we also had a reading, like a night of readings every month or so. So that was cool. Met some great people there that I'm still in touch with. And then after college, where I got a degree that I no longer use, just like many of us, I kind of floated around for a while and then got into waiting tables because I was broke. And then I got into cooking on a line and bartending and kind of found my people in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
Most of them are like super quick. A lot of them have side hustles,
Yeah.
creative work. And they're all loud and brash. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm home.
Yeah, no, I spent 10 years in the service in like restaurants and bars and whatnot. And yeah, it's, like you said, I mean, that's where like for me it was a stage, like serving tables. I mean, I just go up and have a good time with folks and make sure that everything was done in an orderly manner, and then like having to work with the managers and the back of the house with the cooks and like the front of the house with the bar and like all of those like elements or whatever. Like you learn how to juggle like people and like a lot of skills. Like I said, that I use on stage now, I learned in that industry. And like you said, there's a lot of people that they're there and it's a hustle. That's one of their many hustles, moving forward. So it's a great community to like, grow, especially like when you're, younger and like just trying to like figure out what the fuck is what.
It's constant improv, basically.
Yeah, see, I never worked in like a restaurant. I guess in a fast food restaurant, if you want to call
counts.
it a restaurant.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't count. Like, you don't like the people at fast food. Like, you don't hang out and drink with the people that you work with in the fast food. Well, no, I did. But I was underage, so I think it was illegal for them to invite me to the parties. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but I've never worked like in a bar or restaurant where you had, the bar in the front, you had the cook line in the back. In a fast food spot, like you you pretty much basically what happens is they got one hard worker and the rest of these motherfuckers just collected a check. And they just make you work hard. Like, so I was the hard worker. So I was making the sandwiches, the fries, taking the drive-through order. I was the motherfucker who like kept this shit going. And all the older people was just like, oh no, we got a good one. Yeah. Let him do that. Edit do it. And they start hyping you up like, oh, your service time is crazy, son. Show me how you did that. I was like, motherfucker, you trained me.
You got them young knees. They got the weirdest compliments. Like,
you got the young knees.
Look at them young knees.
Well, I mean, that's
doing all that work.
That's like straight to my point. I realized, like, I don't know, 4.5, 5 years in, that I wasn't gonna have young knees forever. But I wanted to stay in the industry somehow, so I got a job at City Paper as essentially an editorial assistant. And my boss, Charlie Deitch, gave me the opportunity to write if I was interested and asked me what I was interested in, and I said food, and he gave me a shot.
Shout out to Charlie Deitch, man. Like, he's been pretty dope. Like, that paper has been pretty awesome.
Thank you.
You know, him there. So I'm a fan.
He is a great guy to work for, as are all my coworkers.
What have you learned while being at City Paper?
Oh God. Well, I didn't have any training as a journalist at all. Like, I did not go to journalism school. So basically I've learned everything because my coworkers have been willing to help me learn it.
On the job training.
The
best type of training. But I'm interested. So having noticed that you had an interest in writing early on, why not go to school for that? Or, you know, now that you come full circle with it, like, what made you decide to not pursue that, you know, with the education?
To be totally honest, I don't think I had the confidence.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, how many people go and get an English degree?
I don't know.
I mean, I got a psychology degree, so I can't exactly talk shit because how many people go and get a psychology degree? A lot. But I was so focused on the fiction side of things that I didn't even consider journalism as a possible
those seem
track.
like two starkly different things. Like, you with the fiction writing, then you go to school, and you psychology where it's all theory based and like it's been proven, or it's science in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was that tough for you to even be able to go through with the psychology? Because I only took Intro to Psych in college. Intro to Psych was like the class that everyone took. You figured, you know, id, ego, super ego. Once you got those three, it was like, all right, you can at least get a B+ in this class. Now, beyond that, I don't know. That shit seemed like it's probably real tough.
Well, what I will say about, I mean, yeah, some of the classes are hard. Hard science and like hard math are not my most naturally gifted subjects, but I was able to work through that. And as much as I say I don't use my psychology degree, the reason I got it is the same reason I love being a journalist. Mm-hmm. I really love talking to people. I like figuring out what people have to say, what's going on with them, what they have to offer. That, to me, like, talking to people about something that they're good at is one of the most enlightening subjects in the world, no matter what it is. Because I might not know how to fix a car. This guy does. I can learn something from them. Not this one. I don't know.
Pointed at him.
I know. Do you know how to fix cars?
I changed my headlights the other day, so if anybody needs any major body work, I'm thinking of going in the field.
There you go.
But yeah, it gives you this really fresh way to approach looking at the world when you're always trying to see it through, you know, someone else's eyes.
Yeah, I mean that is I think, I mean, for me that has been, you know, one of my strongest, like, you know, keys to success is trying to understand other people. Like, I don't know a lot of shit, you know, but I'm able to, like,
what? Can we isolate that? Hold on. Buzz, isolate that. He said it. I didn't. He said it.
I don't know a lot of shit.
He said that shit.
But like, I can listen to people and like meet a lot of people that have these interesting, and like this podcast I mean, it's been an education. It's been like 3 years of just sitting across from people that are way better at doing something than I am, and like listening to them talk about their passion and how they, you know, became who they are. And then you start to see like some of the patterns and like the things that connect, you know, like people, like in that regard. And you realize, like, you know, like I said, it takes away that, like, that barrier of like difference. Like, yeah, we are all like different and, you know, fingerprints or whatever. But again, we're all humans as well. So like everybody has a story, you know, in some regard.
So the food, like, have you always been a foodie, or did it just come through working in that industry, and now you're like, you know what, if I'm gonna write, this is an interesting thing to write about?
So my mom, it was a major child of the 60s. So she was like working in food co-ops really early on, like when I was a kid, and has been a dietitian for the last 30-something years.
Okay.
And thanks, Mom, you're a fantastic cook. She really is like a fantastic cook.
Well, good. I mean, if she going to restrict your diet, she got to at least make it tasty.
That's right. So I grew up watching her be super involved with food and cooking all the time. And because she was so good at it and that was like her place, I didn't learn how to cook until I was in college.
You knew that was the follow-up question.
Yeah.
Like, so what can you do in the kitchen?
I got spoiled. But watching her really made me feel like it was something that I should learn to be good at and something I should be interested in, because, can't like come home and have no skills, like let Mom do it all by herself. So I started reading food writing and trying to cook in my first college apartment, and realized that I like really liked it. And then I, after college, took a trip with a friend, and we went and worked on different farms in the United States. There's a program called WOOF. It's an acronym for Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms, and it's a trade program. So you go and you agree to work so many hours on somebody's farm, and they put you up and feed you and teach you the skills that you need to be working on the land.
Is that like weed clippers?
Maybe it's legal out west now, but when I was
out there, that sounds like what type of farm is this?
Yeah.
First of all, wolf. What type of dog got to do with this? What about bass? Some shit like that. Moo. Like, what the fuck is a wolf?
Woof.
Google this program.
Go ahead. Yeah, I've done it like twice now.
Yeah. Where do you go?
So my close friend and I, after college, we were like, well, fuck, we don't have shit to do. Like, can I swear? Are you guys FCC regulated? What? Yeah,
we don't swear, we cuss.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck swearing is. We cuss in this bar.
All right, good. All right, so we were like, oh man, we have no idea what we're gonna do now that we've graduated from college. So let's take off. Let's go find a place to stay for a while and like figure our shit out, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So we went to Idaho. There was a farm at the base of the Sawtooth Mountains, which are these like huge, beautiful mountains, like right at the sort of center of this giant wilderness area, and hung out with these super hippies for about 2.5 months.
This whole program sounds like a bunch of hippies.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, because I'm like, wait, what is the super hippie? Like, they got what is like the dread sandal, like tattered.
They don't wear clothes at all. They just wear loincloths.
Actually, we were not allowed to be in their hot tub ever. They had a hot tub on the property, but we were not allowed to use it because that was their space.
Wait, the super hippies had a
the
hot
hippies
tub?
had a hot tub?
I feel like that's these
motherfucking false prophets.
We lived in their
was it like a geyser?
camper
Like some
effect.
sort of like naturally or was they using
I don't
electricity?
know. I didn't look at it. That was the one area I was not allowed to go in.
What? Goddamn hippies got a hot tub with the cooling jets and all that shit.
They Tesla hippies.
Jets.
Like it was Tesla hippies. Like
yeah, all right.
It was amazing though. The woman it was a husband-wife couple, and she had been a chef at a 4-star restaurant in Florida before they'd moved out to Idaho. And so
how the fuck did they get to Idaho?
Let's Google to see if weed is legal in Idaho.
it's not. I don't think. Or it wasn't when I was there.
No, I don't think so. Not right
I
now.
didn't think so, but I just asked. That would be the only reason I would go to Idaho.
Yeah, no, I can't. The potatoes?
I mean, but they ship them out.
You'd be like, no, but if you're like, I want
They
the
ship them
freshest.
out.
They
Or like
ship
maybe
them
if you-
shits out. But
you like
Idaho
want the-
probably beautiful as fuck.
Like the
It
fresh.
is.
It's probably like if you
It
were
is.
the natural scenery, it's probably on mad postcards. And we don't even know it's Idaho.
It's America's
Any
best
like
kept
cross
secret.
country scene, like at the beginning of a movie where they're like, that's probably Idaho.
And even when you buy your laptop, it has got the different screensavers, the sunset. That's all Idaho.
So yeah, So I learned how to like put in an irrigation system, and
From the super hippies?
Yep.
Wow.
And nothing like crazy, something simple, but I didn't know how to do that. And I ended up getting
I
like
don't know shit about them.
all of the steps. So I like learned to cook. I learned how to grow food, and then I worked in restaurants. So like literally from the ground up, I started building an interest in this, and that's why I became passionate about writing about it.
So where was the second site that you went to for the Wolf program?
Washington State in the Columbia River Valley.
Left coast, and you all on the west side of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A lot of my family's out there. So it was nice to be able to, go and see them and then kind of like work your way around.
Or you were allowed off of the farm. They let you
It's
leave.
not a call. I mean,
it's not exactly slavery.
Saying, you got a motherfucker there for room and board. Like, that's not to down talk the program. It's I mean, you seem to have learned a lot and applied it to your career, so that's awesome. I have an issue going somewhere and not making any money. Like,
we have a history of farm work that
it wasn't so optional.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I could understand us shying away from it, but I think it is a dope ass program. Like, to learn like how to cultivate the land and eat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because if the shit breaks down,
I'm fucked.
Like,
shit break down, I'm fucked. Like,
I mean, I know a couple people that know about some shit, like, but I mean, all I know is just like throw some seeds in some dirt and like spit on that shit and hope it, hope for the best. Like,
I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. When the world goes to shit, I have a standing invitation in Idaho from those hippies.
Yeah.
Oh, them hippies gonna live to be like 170.
Yeah.
I'm sure they like in the best health ever. They got that magical hot tub, like that hot tub time machine that no other hippie has. Yeah, the shit. If the shit goes down in my lifetime, I'm turning into a robber. I know that. Like, I know my place in society at that point. I'm not farming. I'm not killing no animals to cook. Nothing. I'm robbing you. So look, you got all this shit, and I'm gonna be like a real courteous robber too. Like, look, I just need enough of me and my kids. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to put you out of house and home, but I'm gonna take a little piece of that surplus.
I'm gonna just be the plug, man. I just know people. I know people that can do shit. Like, oh, you need this. I know they need that. So how about y'all both get a little bit of that?
You're the broker.
Yeah,
exactly.
True.
It'll just change society. It won't change the roles in society. Just everyone would have different roles that they play. You would, you'd farm and do all that shit, build irrigation systems and all that, and I would come and loot that motherfucker.
And I would come in and be like, "Hey, you sick of motherfuckers looting you? I know a security guy."
See, I'm putting those security guys. I'm bringing jobs to the economy because you don't need security guys unless you got a bad guy.
Oh man, no. Let's restart society the other way. On the other side.
So now with the journalism piece with City Paper, how's that experience been there? Like, so you go around and you'll interview individuals. Do you focus on anything specific in these interviews? Are you pretty generic?
Totally depends on what's going on. Like, we try to stay topical because we're a locally focused weekly. So if like the Farm to Table conference, I'll cover that in some way or another, just to let people know that it's going on. But also like last week, I wrote about maple syrup production.
Okay.
So right now is like the middle of maple syrup tapping season in Pennsylvania. And I mean, we all know like log cabin, like we've all put maple syrup on our pancakes, but how much do you actually know about how anybody gets maple syrup or produces it?
Well, I actually am a fan of maple syrup.
Okay.
And I get like the actual maple syrup, not that high fructose bullshit.
Terrible.
Yeah, so like, I didn't know they tapped it. Yeah, I mean, like you're telling me all this, like I would like to hear about that. Like I didn't know it was tapping season.
All my maple syrup come from the grocery store. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm straight Aunt Jemima log cabin. Like I'm all into that.
Yeah, I mean, like it still comes from a grocery store in some sense, but they've got like local,
Hook him up with the real thing and see if he likes it any better.
Yeah, you will. There's a complete difference. You know what I mean?
It is.
Like it's fresh and it's thick and it tastes like maple and not like sugar and brown shit.
I'm okay. I mean, I believe you. I'm so conditioned on the sugar and brown shit. My pancakes are highly unhealthy. I got a lot of shit in my pancakes, and then I'm putting that unhealthy syrup on top. But first of all, Ancient Mama, that's some bullshit anyway. I probably shouldn't be buying that, but you grow up conditioned to like it, and you're like, that's the syrup that you get.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even eat the pancakes. I just eat just straight like bacon and sausage. Like I'll have
with the syrup poured on top.
With the syrup, the syrup on top
I do
of that.
put syrup on my whole breakfast.
Yeah,
I don't trust you if you don't put. First of all, if you don't put syrup on your eggs, I don't trust you either. I put it over the whole plate.
Yeah, the eggs get some of that too.
The whole plate.
All right, I'll try it.
Yeah, I mean, if you got the pancakes and the eggs and all that, like you ain't separating your eggs from the pancakes and all that. They all get a little bit. And like I like mine over easy type, a little dippy, so it's all it's all a thing.
Yeah, now you don't cook eggs and then go get syrup. That's not what I'm saying.
That's a monster.
I was starting to
don't trust that motherfucker that makes eggs and then pours syrups on that bitch. Like,
if I got a syrup, on the plate, the egg's gonna be in. It's gonna swim in that too. Like, I'm equal opportunity syrup spreader.
So yeah, I mean, now you're covering the maple thing. That's pretty awesome,
right? I mean, like, how much do we actually know about where our food comes from? That's something I'm personally really interested in, and I think if you write it the right way, it can be exciting to learn that kind of stuff. Like, I learned all sorts of things I didn't know about the maple syrup market in the 1800s, which sounds super boring. But we used to produce like 6 billion gallons of maple syrup.
Billion gallons? Where the fuck did we go?
So where did the syrup go?
It got replaced by industrialized cane sugar. When it became more marketable, because slave labor was being used to produce it in the Caribbean, it got cheaper and people were able to buy it, and they weren't having to do any of the labor for it, where with maple syrup, all the labor was localized here.
Yeah, see, this is where I get fucked up. I don't want to think this deep into the stuff that I put up. Now I'm like, do I boycott maple syrup? Do I not fuck with it for the Caribbeans? Like, what do I do?
No, fuck with maple syrup for the Caribbeans.
And I think you should fuck with maple syrup because it's fucking delicious. One, it's delicious and it's local. You know what I mean? Like, and it's better. It's real shit. It's not just like a lot of it is like high fructose corn syrup and like, sugar and like a little, it's garbage, But where the fuck did they get 8 billion gallons of, like, how many? That's a lot of trees.
It's a lot of trees. But if it's the only thing you're using to flavor your food that's sweet, you're going to have a high demand for it. You can maple trees grow in areas where the weather fluctuates between freezing and like not freezing. I mean, they grow in the South too, but you can't produce syrup out of them because the tree needs to be dormant for you to tap the tree. Because otherwise it's using the sap, right? Like, it's using it to grow. If it's dormant, it's kind of just hanging out there and you can extract it.
Yeah, that was a lesson in school that I learned for a test, and then I forgot all that shit.
So did I, right? Like, that's what part of what makes this job so interesting is that I get to be a perpetual student about things I didn't even know I wanted to know. And food ties really closely in with my other interests for writing, which I really enjoy writing about labor and writing about like equality issues. And you cannot separate those things in food. I mean, just what I told you, like, who made maple syrup originally? Sure wasn't white people. It was Native Americans.
We just say we appreciate you, saying that. You don't get that from many white people. That'll just say that. There you go. Shout out to you. You are now in the Drinking Partners Hall of Fame.
It's literally the least I can do.
I mean, that's that is huge. I mean, even like like you said, the food industry. There was this shortage in chefs. Because of like immigration, like laws and whatnot, and like farmers and like it's affecting different parts of our food industry or whatever. And like, first and foremost, we should be paying people a living wage. I mean, that's that. But like, as we fight for that, like a lot of these jobs, that we and not to say that Latinos and Latinas are only good for these positions or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they do great things in a great many capacities. But like when you try to hurt a certain section of the population, you end up hurting the entire country. You know what I mean? Like, so you're seeing these like, you know, these droughts or whatever in like, you know, in workers. And as a result, like, you know, we're not having the same food production or like, food output in the country.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, bro.
No, well, they like there's a like they're like in the like chefs like around the country. Like if you go in a lot of kitchens around the country, there's a lot of Latinos in the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like so now you're saying there's a chef shortage here.
Yeah, there's a chef shortage, not Pittsburgh.
There's a line cook shortage.
There's a line cook shortage in the country.
Yes.
So are people not like pursuing culinary degrees anymore? I mean, I feel like we all know several people who went to culinary school. You know what I mean? Like I know a few people that. So people are no longer pursuing it, or
so there's a couple of different factors at play, and I'm speaking from what I know, but I'm sure there's a lot more out there.
Yeah.
But God, this is like such a big topic. What you were saying about Latinx people and working a lot in kitchens in the back of the house. The first thing you have to know there is that there is a color divide in restaurants between the front of the house and the back of the house. The farther front you go, the whiter people are. The farther back you go, the darker and browner people are. RE racism. So a lot of those kitchen jobs are being taken by people who are willing to work really hard, 14, 18 hours a day and backbreaking labor for really not that much money. Like kitchen work doesn't pay a great wage.
No.
And it's something that you can learn to do. And it's something that a lot of employers won't background check you for.
Right.
It's a good entry point for someone who needs to acquire a skill. A lot of the kitchens are Spanish speaking. So if you have a friend who came here, they're more likely to say like, oh, hey, like we need someone, it's just like, it's an easy entry point. And now that we're having such a harsh immigration crackdown, ICE is literally doing raids on restaurants. Like there was one that happened in Oakland 3 weeks ago.
In Oakland,
PA, like in Pittsburgh.
And they just ran up in the kitchen? Like,
yep.
Damn.
We ain't even got a heavy population around this.
But you know what? In South Oakland, though, you will see, some Latino families.
No, yeah. I mean, I lived in South Oakland,
yeah.
So but like I said, they're in pockets. They're in like heavy pockets in the city.
Damn. Mm-hmm. So they just ran. That's kind of kind of fucked up. Although I can't. How do I say this without sounding ignorant? I kind of would like to see it, but I don't want it to happen. Like just run in on some immigration shit. Like that's weird.
Well, that's what's being encouraged in our current administration. There's such
Trump's
a drive.
America.
Yeah. So if you have people that are in hard labor, entry level places where they can come and get a job, they're going to be targeted. And so that's part of it, right? Like people are afraid to work now. So we're losing people. And also like kitchen labor is hard. Most people they come in, they realize they're not going to make very much money and they leave. Or it's looked at as this like way station kind of job because of the way that healthcare is handled in the restaurant industry. Like people don't have health insurance.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do they generally have health insurance?
There are a couple of places that you can work that will offer health insurance, but that's not the norm.
Yeah, no, not in the slightest bit. Like, and a lot of staff like aren't even full-time employees. I mean, they're just like part-time for the most part. Like, there's a few full-time folks, depending on the size of the restaurant or whatever. I mean, sometimes it's just the owners.
Mm-hmm.
So, in your opinion, what are some of the challenges here in Pittsburgh on the food scene, whether it be, in the restaurant or with supply chain? Like, what do you think some of the challenges that the food scene faces here that'll propel us to that next level? I mean, I know the food culture here is obviously improving, always improving, but, we're not the best city for food. So what do you think is holding us back here?
Well, one of our culinary school did close. So that's part of the reason why we have a shortage of line cooks here, because we don't have the school right by to like be a source for new labor. So it would be great if we had an operating culinary program again. I think we're also being held back by how interwoven the restaurant community is here. Like, Pittsburgh's small. We all make jokes about it. The comedy scene could be a direct parallel to the restaurant scene. You all probably know every person on the comedy circuit right now, right?
Between the two of us, probably.
Yeah.
Right. Or you know someone who knows them, like a 1 degree point of separation. It's exactly the same thing with the restaurant industry. And that can be helpful in a lot of ways, because people are more likely to help you out if they have a personal connection with you. They're more likely to come to your restaurant. But it also hurts because I think it causes people to be a little bit less honest with their criticism.
Yeah, because you like them.
Yeah, this person might be your friend, but you might be like, hey, like, your bacon needs to be a little crispier.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
And it becomes personal.
Yeah, see, that's the thing you don't really get in the comedy scene, stand-up at least. Like, people don't like you. They just, you'll know. Like, I mean, like,
we're not really into the feelings.
Yeah, like,
but I think just with food in general, though, like, it's hard to tell somebody that they food just not as good.
Yeah, like, this might not.
You know what I mean? Like, every now and again, your significant other slides you a plate, and you be like, "Ooh, honey, great job! Wow, this looks like it can be swallowed." You just don't have the words to be like, "Look, you just don't make good whatever."
Yeah, I feel you gotta kind of be honest. That's just how anybody gets. I like to cook. I'm a fan. So, like, if I make shit, I want you to tell me it's shit. Because if I don't, if I don't know it, I'm not going to get better.
Right.
So I'll tell you if your shit is shit. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what, like, but I do see that, like, it may be like tougher to do that. And I feel you, because there's some restaurants around here. I'm like, how the fuck is this even a thing? Like, are you kidding me? Like, and I don't know. But I mean, I'm not married to it, so I can actually call people out when it's like shitty shit. And I enjoy that. I enjoy this part of what we do with Drinking Partners, is like, I get to interview people and, like, have, whatever. But, like, for the most part, like, if I want to just say, like, that's terrible shit, don't do that. Like, that gives a little bit of freedom. And I think I'm not the media. We're not you're the media. Like, I mean, like, so, like, I guess there's, like, a responsibility there, because they're not going to do it within the industry. It's not going to self-regulate.
So do you have to write, like, bad columns about people? Like, yo, this food fucking sucks.
No. So this is the beauty, is that I'm not a critic. I'm not a food critic.
No.
I mean, I would not say glowing things about something that I didn't think was glowing. But normally what I'm writing about is more process driven and personality driven. It's more the what and the who and the where and the when, so much as, like, the why.
So you never say, all right, based on this process, this food fucking sucks.
I haven't gotten there yet.
What if, shit, you should say it. Just say it about food that you don't think sucks. Just get it out there, see how you feel. Just
practice.
You don't even have to publish it. Just write it. See how it feels when you write it. How do you go out and not be a critic? Like, how do you...
Oh, well, I mean, in my own head, or, like, with my friends, it's just that I'm not a professional critic.
Well, right. I mean, just, and not have that affect your writing. Like, I'm sure that's difficult to, you're critiquing in your head just because you're presented with something, but to be able to write a very neutral, just objective column, how...
Yeah, it's not always easy. Sometimes you got to scale back your voice a little bit. But I try to focus on what I think what would serve other people, like, as far as knowing about this or that.
Yeah, I mean, because, like, you get into a story of things. You know what I mean? Like you said, I mean, like, with the maple, and, like, it's not just, like, judging a maple syrup versus that maple syrup. You're like, how the fuck did maple syrup come about? You know, like, so, like, getting those stories. Like, so what is your... I guess like what is your compass? How do you sniff out like the next story? Like what's your process in that regard? Because I mean, you know, how much direction are you given versus how much is your own inspiration, and like what are some of your inspirations?
Inspirations. Well, I read a lot of other people's food writing. I think a good way to get better at something is to pay attention to people who you think are good at it.
Right.
It's a good way to check yourself. So I try to keep up with, you know, what the New York Times is writing about food, or, you know, what my favorite food bloggers are writing about. And that can help give me inspiration as far as like, oh, like I see what they're saying here, but maybe I'd like to delve a little bit more into this like point that I felt they made. Also, I mean, I like to go out. Like I love to go out to eat. I love to go and like sit at a bar and have a drink. And just doing that, just being present, can lead you to like some fun stories. I think my best example of this is I was in La Prima, that coffee shop in the Strip, like a year and a half ago. And there is a contingent of older Italian men that meet up there in the mornings and play chess and, to what sounds like to me, yell at each other in Italian. And I overheard them talking about home winemaking, like the wine that they make in their basements, which is like a big
That's
tradition.
Coded speech.
Yeah.
That's coded for bring the yayo.
Yeah, I got some wine in my bedroom. Some Italian wine. So shout out to Uncle John.
Well, so I heard them talking about that, and I was like, oh, you know, like it was like my ears pricked up. And I went over and asked them about it, and they put me in touch with the person who sells them their grapes every season to make wine. Huh. And I got to talking to him. He runs the wine program out of Consumer Fresh Produce in the Strip. And a year and a half later, I'm like still in touch with people that are making wine at home. I went out and helped a family last month do their racking process, which basically just means like transferring wine from barrels into like different barrels to either, you know, like filter out the substrate that comes off. And you do that like 2 or 3 times, depending on how long you want to rack your wine for. Yeah. But that's not something I ever would have probably known about as someone who is not tapped into the home winemaking community here if I hadn't have grabbed a coffee that day.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny the situations you'll find yourself in just by placing yourself out there, just kind of investing yourself into your craft. So like with us, going to the breweries and going to shows and just kind of being out on the scene, being at farm to table events, like it provides a lot of opportunities that you may not have seen prior to just being in that space. So it's cool that it, you know, that translates across all industry.
So here's my question for both of you. Because this is something that I like will bitch about to my friends, and they're like, "Oh, poor you. That's terrible that you have to like go out to a restaurant or go to a bar. Like, it's work. I don't always want to go. Like, do you guys always want to go and listen to
no,
like drink 10 beers or, you know, like listen to some comic
I
that you've never heard?
I always want to drink the beers. Sometimes I want to drink the beers on my couch.
Exactly.
Sometimes I don't feel like being personable. Sometimes, you know, everybody's personality is multifaceted. So there's a very personable part of me, but there's a part of me that's an introvert, a large part of me that likes to be in solitude, enjoying the things that I want to enjoy, where I control that environment. And when you're out, you can't control the environment.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm an extreme extrovert, and like I fucking love people, like, you know what I mean, like, and I have one of the highest tolerance for like crowds, like individual people, a little less, but like crowds, whatever, you know, and even, but like now that it's become work, like. It's work. So, you know, I mean, like I can't, and I really don't have a social life anymore. Like, you know, because when everybody else is doing social shit, I'm working. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm paid to be here. I'm not here because like I want to be here. And like, it's awesome. Like I love the places like that we get to go out to, the breweries or whatever. But at the same time, like I'm out and I'm doing a thing. So I can't really enjoy myself. I have to like, I'm still in a professional setting, and it's weird. Like I'm a professional drunk. Like, Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I understand you.
Yeah, I can drink, but I'm still like, I gotta maintain, you know, like, so, and you're right, because like I complain about it, and people were like, oh, it must be tough, like, and I'm like, man, my liver though.
Well, it's forced interaction. Like most people, what they hate about their jobs is either the monotony of their job or the forced interaction.
Yeah,
and you know, it could be forced interaction either between you and a client or whatever, or forced interaction between your co-workers. Like, hell, in comedy, you don't like every comedian. Now, you may respect what they can add to your show, so you'll book them and shit like that, but I don't want to be sitting backstage with every fucking comedian. I don't want to go to the bar all the time with y'all. Like,
and that's energy. I mean, that's the thing, is that as I get older and like, you know, more of this, I realize that we only have but so much energy that we can give. And like when I was younger, it was much easier. I had way more, but like now, I mean, like with everything, it's and like now, like it's all work at this point. Like you got a day job and a night job, like, and you're trying to squeeze in whatever personal life that you have. And like, there's only but so much energy that you can give to somebody. And like, as an entertainer, like, it doesn't matter what kind of week we're having, what kind of day we're having. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, when you go out to these events or whatever, it doesn't matter what your day was like. You got to do this. You got to be out there and you got to smile and like, you know, have, you know, at least a decent civil time with folks when you might rather just want to be on the couch, like just around close friends and family. I mean, and that energy that you put out or whatever, like it does become draining at times.
Do y'all ever just like sit in your car before you have to go in somewhere? You like turn off your car, you turn down your music, and you just sit there and you go, okay. Like you like gather yourself so you can like go and like.
Men created that.
Put that.
That is the oldest trick in the book for a married man. Any man in a domestic relationship spends a good deal of me time in the car. Yeah. That's why we don't answer y'all when y'all call us when we're driving. And y'all call us because y'all know we driving, but we don't answer because, motherfucker, I'm driving. Like, this is my time. This is where I control the music. I control the ambiance in here. Sorry. And that's not to say that you do that, but yeah, I'm looking at you like you do that. I'm just going to assume. I just profiled you. You do that.
Sometimes I have to gather myself, especially like I said, I mean, there are times where I'm just having a bad fucking day or it's been a long day. Sometimes we get booked for show. There's times where like I'm up, like I got family shit at like, 8:00 in the morning. I'm up doing that. And then like maybe I got a meeting sometime in the middle of the day. And then I got like a show that night. Like by the time I get to the show that night, man, I'm fucking exhausted and drained. And like I just drove maybe 2 hours, the day or whatever. And I've got to get out of this car and fucking turn it on like a light switch. Like, you need a little time to collect yourself. Like, all right, let's go. I like music though. That's my like little. I love a come up. You know what I mean? Like coming up, setting the right music or whatever, letting that motherfucker ride out. Like get it nice. Yeah, like let's go.
Yeah, I don't get off guard till the song is over.
Yeah. So what's your song when you like really need to like muster some energy or like you're having a bad day? Do you have? Because I have a song and it's kind of embarrassing. But I'm going to share it with you.
Well, my song always changes. So right now, Nip Hustle and Motivate.
That Hustle and Motivate is my shit too. Right now, I've been having that on.
Just get you in the mood to go do something.
Yeah, that whole album is a hustle album. Like, if you don't want to go out and just work until your fingers bleed listening to that album, man, like you might not be built for the come up.
I'm going to have to add that.
No, we got to get your song because it's embarrassing.
It is a little embarrassing.
Good.
It's Bossy by Khalees.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I fucks with Bossy.
I love that song, man. There's like nothing that will pump me up.
Diamond on my I fucks with it.
My one go-to has been over the last couple of years. I'm going in with Weezy, Drake, and Jeezy. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what mood I'm in, but right now it's definitely the hustle and motivate.
Yeah.
So now how has your job, like, how has that affected your personal life? Like when you, like if somebody were to want to cook for you, are you like a real critic on the food they do, like that they cook and shit?
God, no. If someone wants to make me a meal, I am so down for it. There is nothing that makes me feel more cared for than someone else cooking for me.
That is dope. That's a love language.
Yeah, I mean, but it's also just nice. Like cooking is labor. It's something that you have to plan. Like we spend a lot of time doing it, and when someone else just does that for you,
It's an art.
it's amazing.
I've always appreciated
Literally
it.
a culinary art.
Yeah, I've always appreciated it, and I've never been very critical when people cook for me. But I also don't hang out with the best in the city. You know what I mean? So like, you might be critiquing their process. Like I'd be scared to cook for you because like you would have to come and the food's already prepared. Like I couldn't be cooking and you in the other room looking at the kitchen and talking about where you get them carrots from, fam? Is that local? Those organic?
I get really nervous cooking for other people, actually, because I feel like if it's bad, I've somehow failed in all of these. Like I didn't just make
lofty standards.
Yeah, like I didn't just make a bad meal. I like gave you a bad experience.
Yeah.
So I'll get like really intense and nervous, and my partner will be like, "Oh my god, like you have to just, it's okay. Like it's just dinner." And I'm like, "But I want them to like it. Like I want it to be good."
Yeah, I mean it is tough because like that's why I try to like if I have guests over, just go with something that's like for sure I know like I mean like it's tough. I try to like experiment before inviting folks over. I mean like so. My fiance will get like the terrible shit. Like the kids will get the terrible shit. Like, but if you come over, it's probably been
tried and tested.
Kid tested. Fiance approved. Like.
I've never cooked for like a large group of people, man. I've only cooked for like wifey or people I dated in the past or my kids. Like, I've never cooked for a large group because I don't want that responsibility. I don't want to be the person that determines your whole experience, like this whole group, like everything is on the line. Because you could be around a dope group of people, but if the setting is to eat and the food's no good, then those people are less dope to you because you hungry.
Right.
Like,
and you came hungry.
Yeah, I came hungry. The food sucked. I'm still hungry. I don't give a fuck about your jokes, fam.
Hopefully you got some chips and salsa or something. I mean,
I'm a good beverage guy though. I keep some juice and drink.
Well, that's what you have to bring to the table then.
That's all I'm bringing to the table.
And this is why
drink, man.
potlucks are where the fuck it's at. I love a potluck, man, and maybe
depends
it's just
on who. It depends on your circle. I mean, if you got a nice circle, potluck is dope as shit. But if your circle whack, man,
yeah, it's true.
Them work potlucks,
work potluck.
It just be whack. Yours probably be dope though, because y'all in the industry, y'all in the city. You know what I mean?
I can see a city paperwork up there. Miami,
y'all probably trying to one up each other, with the exclusivity. But like, I'm not trying to taste your fucking Peruvian meatballs. I'm like bringing that dumb shit to work. Like, bring some shit we gonna eat.
So it's Women's Month. Man, it's Women's Month. Like, it's crazy.
We get a whole month.
Oh yeah. Well, just so like we got
the shortest month.
True. We got the
Fair enough.
We just got 4 weeks.
You guys got a whole month too.
I mean, like we had Virginia on last week. We got like, I didn't even realize how it like set up, but like it's all like women in beer for the next like 2 months on here or whatever. And I'm looking back and like, we haven't had, like, I mean, we've had a good bit of women like on the podcast or whatever, but we haven't had like a great, a number of women. So it's nice to get that other side. And like, it's like because you can only have but so much perspective coming from a male perspective. I mean, like from one, no matter what you do in an industry, there's still going to be a lot of those same parallels coming from one aspect. So like, I'm excited for this like next 8 weeks and getting that. So like, it's Women's Month. What does Women's Month mean to you?
What does Women's Month mean to me?
Yeah, and like
your
industry.
These hard ass questions, bro. We trying to have a good time.
I mean like this is so Day and I have like had a couple of like pretty serious conversations at this point since we've met, which has been nice. So I know why he's throwing this one at me because he knows it means something to me. But I'm a feminist. I was raised by 2 feminist parents. My dad was a stay-at-home dad. He's the first man I ever met that said he was a feminist and like has supported me all the way. Being a woman in this industry is hard. It's really hard. In a variety of ways. I'm also a young woman, which can further complicate things. I've definitely been treated as though I don't know what I'm talking about, which is pretty frustrating. Like somebody asked me if I knew what a béarnaise sauce was.
That seems like a legit question.
At a dinner, but he didn't
is.
ask my male colleague that, right? Like that would be a totally legit question.
Well, I mean,
if he directed it to the table as opposed just like, oh, honey.
Right.
No, I mean, intersectionality, the parallels. You know what I mean? Like I was at a restaurant and they had beer and like I was looking at the different things and I'm looking at the beer menu and I'm like, yo, what is this thing here? And she goes, oh, that's a beer menu. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I mean, like, and she had addressed everybody at the table very respectfully, like they knew what they were talking about or whatever. And she, oh, that's a beer. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So like, yeah, I mean,
I'm literate. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and I think and we get that. Like when we go in, like people just assume because of our color we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. And I've heard a lot of that from women, like just in the beer industry, like just being treated as if they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, it can be a rough first impression with people. And usually, like, as far as outright sexism goes, I've definitely experienced some gross things, like just like having inappropriate, like somebody like touching me in a way that I don't want them touching me, or someone saying like something it's straight out sexist or gross to me. But really, it's a lot of the subtle dismissing. Like, oh, that's a beer menu. Or, oh, do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I'm sure that like, we'd like to hear your opinion, but let's hear him first.
Yeah. And that's and because it's so subtle, it's that coded, like, I mean, like, and when you try to call it out, people from the outside are like, was it really that? Or were you just misreading it? It's like, no. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, and that's what makes it so, like you said, is because it's hard to call out to somebody that doesn't know. Now, people within, when I talk to other black folks and I'm like, yo, did you? And they're like, yeah. People are like, more aware of that within their own, in our own bubbles of oppression. Like,
I think I've gotten a little bit of a reputation as someone who's not very quiet about it, which is what I want. Like, okay. I mean, I don't mind like being mean. I don't mind being mean girl. I'm happy to be mean girl. Like I'm from a middle class background. I'm a fortunate white girl who can take being the face of being a mean girl.
Yeah.
For other people who don't have the kind of like automatic privilege I have.
Yeah, I mean, you could steal a bike and people will help you.
Exactly.
Do it. So like when you have that kind of power, then why not flip it like on its head and use it to, like.
I mean, that takes me back to the, in your column, tell them this shit sucks. Like, why aren't you telling people that this shit sucks? No. But how do you even, in a situation where you experience, some semblance of sexism or whatever, and you still have to do your job, like, how do you find it in yourself to still be able to complete your job effectively? Because, I mean, you still have to put out the column. You still have to, write it. And you can't write, well, I guess you could, or you could choose to, ruffle feathers and talk about whatever you experience, or you can stay focused on the topic. Like, how difficult has that been throughout your career at City Paper?
It's been hard. It's not so hard as it could be because I have so much internal support from my coworkers and my boss. Like if something shitty happens to me on an interview, I can come back to the office and be like, you guys will never believe like what bullshit just happened to me. And they'll be like, oh man, like that sucks. Do you want me to call them? Like my editor is so supportive that it makes it easier for me to, because I'm allowed to vocalize that. Every situation is different. I mean, like, I have decided, you know what, this isn't worth it. I'm going to call someone out on what they're doing. Like, no, I'd prefer if you shake my hand. If someone, like, just being super direct, if I feel safe doing that. Or, like, no, actually, you just talked over me. Like, I've said those things to people before.
I mean, you kind of have to. Like, it's so tough. And for most people, like in general, and it's even tough for like people that do speak out. But like if you find yourself in a position of power and you have that rare ability to speak out, like I feel like it kind of, with this, like Spider-Man, like with great power comes great responsibility. I mean, like, so, I even look at my own privilege, A, as a male, and B, even as a light-skinned male. I mean, like, so I'm afforded a lot of different like privileges, a lot of different, like doors that other people like, of my race that aren't, afforded because of their of their look or their gender. So with that, like I have to be able to like, recognize my own privilege and then do whatever I can to like, progress it so that everybody else can eat and come up.
Yeah. And I certainly haven't been perfect at any of it. Like I'm learning from other people all the time about how to handle those situations. And I've definitely experienced things and not said anything or just kind of taken it and, regretted that later. But I think as long as you're willing to actually listen to what other people have to say when you mess up genuinely and try to incorporate that going forward, like that's the best anyone can do.
Yeah, I think it all ties in. I guess the overall theme of this would be, put yourself in a position to learn. I mean, with your introduction into the food industry and everything like that, it came from a learning process. When speaking out against issues that you find to be important, you're learning about those issues, more about those, and then you're learning how to emote, and how to appropriately bring that out. So, I think that's the theme here is you gotta put yourself in a position to learn some shit. Don't just stay in your bubble, stay in your box, because you might end up with some hippies in Idaho. And
yeah, and then where are you?
Time, right? And I'm sure you got in that hot tub once, and you don't have to say it on air because they might be listening, because they seem like the type of hippies who listen to podcasts. But let the people know where they could find you.
You can find me every week in the food section and occasionally other sections where I'll be moonlighting at the Pittsburgh City Paper. I have a podcast that is now defunct for the moment, but there are still episodes of that. It's called Soundbite. If you want to learn a little bit more about the local food scene, I go foraging with mushroom pickers and go to this super awesome trout farm where this guy is he's raising trout in spring-fed pools. I just went and saw him over the winter. So those episodes are still up. Take a listen. And you can also see some of my freelance writing at Table Magazine on occasion.
Man, shroom hunters. I need to know a little bit more about that off air.
We'll just tell the people where they can find us. There's been a lot of drug innuendos in here too. I'm like,
hey, we are the Drinking Partners. If you're looking for us, you can find us on epicastnetwork.com/partnerspod. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, and Google Play under Drinking Partners. You can find us on IG, Twitter, and Facebook at PartnersPod. You can also find us at Arcade Comedy Theater April 21st at arcadecomedytheater.com. You can find us at Comptra Theater April 28th at ComtraTheater.ticketleap.com.
Hey, we want to thank our guest Celine Roberts for coming out, sharing her experience and her knowledge. Appreciate the interview. And as always, Drinking Partners is the crew. Epicast is the family. And we out of here.